Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Katha Fest Day 2. And this is a beautiful evening. Previously, we had personal narratives, mythological tales yesterday, and this evening we had jungle tales for children. And now it is a night of imagination and creativity where words come alive and new worlds unfold. Right? We are so excited to be here with all of you tonight for an event that celebrates stories crafted from the heart. Yes, we are here to experience something truly special because self written stories reflect each storyteller's mind, their perspective, their imagination, and their creativity. They're not just tales, they are pieces of each storyteller's world that are shared with all of us. And before going into this world of stories, let us begin this session with a warm up by our beautiful Meera Vishwanath's music. Yes, Meera.
Thank you, Rohini. This is a song I wrote for Rohini. It was an event called The Moments or Lamhe. So, an originally penned and tuned song. Again for you, Rohini. Ruratta, tiratta, ruratta, tiratta, ruratta, tiratta, ruratta, tiratta, ruratta, tiratta, ruratta, tiratta, चल चलते हैं थोड़ी तुम थोड़ी हम इन राहों में थोड़ी तुम थोड़ी हम चल चलते हैं थोड़ी तुम थोड़ी हम इन राहों में थोड़ी तुम थोड़ी हम लम्हे बुरे कुछ कहे कुछ सुने थोड़ी खुशियाँ थोड़े गम चल चलते हैं थोड़े तुम थोड़े हम ये शाम भी है हंसी मंजिले यही लम्हे सिसकते लम्हे बरसते लम्हे ये लम्हे हम थाम लें लम्हे मचलते लम्हे बहकते लम्हे ये लम्हे हम थाम लें लम्हे तेरे ये लम्हे ये मेरे लम्हे ये लम्हे हम थाम लें दूरता तिरक रूरता तिरक रूरता तिरक रूरता तिरक रूरता तिरक रूरता तिरक ये लम्हे हम थाम ले Thank you.
That was beautiful. You just took me down my memory lane, That is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Meera. It's a real surprise to me and to everybody as well. Like I really did not expect that I would begin the session like this. So beautiful. Thanks a lot.
Meera, you wrote this for Rohini, but I was thinking that you wrote it for me.
Yeah, you can replace anybody can take this song. But I would be the first person, like
Lovely,
thank you.
lovely.
Karuna, my every song is for you, Karuna. I openly
Ah,
acknowledge this
Madala.
on this platform.
Thank you so much, Meera, for that. And as we listen to each story, we actually have to remember, that storytelling is a brave act. And especially when sharing something you have created, it's an honor to be able to hear these personal creations. And we are thrilled to have you with us to celebrate these new voices. And we are going to begin the session with our first teller of the day. That is none other than Aditi. Aditi is a French and English language trainer. She is passionate about writing stories and poems and equally passionate about storytelling and doing embroidery work. This year, her first book of short stories for children with the title Bedtime Stories with Animals was published. And in fact, that is going to be giveaway also for few of the tellers. Thank you so much, Aditi. The screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Rohini, for giving me this wonderful opportunity this evening. Congratulations to Katha Karwa, and I'm really fortunate for being a part of today's storytelling session. So, for today's storytelling, I have selected one of my stories called The Twist in Tanu's Life. This is a story based on a lady who celebrates her 55th birthday and goes to trek all the way to the Valley of Flowers. So, this is a story written by me. So, on her 55th birthday, Tanu or Tanushri suddenly decided to share her secret hobby with her family. Her 19-year-old son was already pursuing his engineering, and she had already taken a break as a school teacher since the last 2 years and settled with her retired army officer husband, Satyajit, in a quiet mansion of Mau. I have decided to pursue a course in trekking. I will be traveling out for a couple of weeks. My training is going to start from tomorrow. The words of Tanu fell like a sudden tremor of earthquake in the ears of Satyajit and Obronil. But Ma, you have never gone for trekking. As far as I know, you only love visiting the beaches. Then suddenly, why did you decide to go for trekking? All these years, you have worked as a school teacher, you have been engrossed in your own world, but why do you want to venture out into something like this? That too at this age. And don't you know, you have that issues with your lungs. Doctor has advised you never to trek and you are thinking of going to trek. Are you very sure about what you that you really want to do this? Abdul asked Tanu, showing his concern, which was actually valid. I do agree that I have never tried something like this before. But it's true that I have decided to pursue something new. As they say, learning has no age limit. A month later, she shocked her friends and relatives by posting the pics of her amazing Valley of Flowers trek. The base camp, Ghagaria itself, was located at a height of 10,300 feet above the sea level. Moreover, due to her lung issues, Tanu had kept her dream the back stove. Indeed, it was indeed very very tiring and a very it was a very challenging kind of a trek. But the enchanting view and the feeling of I finally did it kept motivating Tanu. I read about the group Trek the Himalayas with their caption Trek the Himalayas at any age and make a new beginning. And I knew nothing could stop me from doing this. Tanu told her son. Now that I have completed the trek, I feel extremely relaxed. I get a feeling that if I can do it, anyone else can do it at my age or even older than me. I know life at times becomes a monotonous grind, but hold my hand, create a twist in your story, pursue a path less taken. The twists and turns are way too many, yet keep walking before the twilight sun bends you low. Keep walking on the road less taken by many more. So, this is how I have written this particular story. So, thank you so much for listening to me this evening, and thank you, Rohini, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Hope I didn't take too much time.
Not at all, not at all. Aditi, that was such a beautiful story and so relevant to any woman who crosses her, her 50s or 40s with so many responsibilities of the family and who is willing to do something for herself, finding something for herself, creating a new world for herself. And it is very inspiring. Thank you so much for bringing such a sweet story. Thanks a lot, Aditi, and keep writing and keep soaring high.
Thank you so much, Rohini. Thank you, everyone.
Now we have another amazing writer, Soma Mukherjee, with us. Soma Mukherjee is a corporate trainer with 13 years experience with 50 certifications. She's a pageant winner, actor, model, writer and a woman achiever from Bangalore. Her poems and articles have been published in various websites and portals. She also wrote few anthologies and won various awards in writing contests. And currently she's working as a special educator for helping children with behavior issues or learning disabilities. Soma Mukherjee, uh, can you where is she? Ah, yes, she's here. Yes. Welcome, Soma ji. The screen is all yours.
Namaste.
Thank you for being here.
Nice to be here. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're clear.
So, a beautiful introduction to me and a beautiful family here. I've been always writing in BTB and so many platforms, but I'm honored to be here. So, I thought why I should write another story. So, today's story is on me, and I'm the heroine. And the ink is my imagination. And here comes my story. So, the story is titled My Odyssey Through My Writing. So the first point is, how did the seeds of imagination happen? I was born in beautiful town of Jamshedpur, a town of Tatars, a beautifully kept city with beautiful gardens, beautiful lanes, and I can see myself cycling down the street, having a very middle class life. But then my dad always encouraged me to do things going beyond the box to create such unimaginable things, but his basic instructions was to be, a good in studies. And I wrote everywhere. Any slip of paper, any tissue paper I could see, I could write. Um, Much to chagrin of my dad, because he thought, as all young girls, I should study and perhaps get married to my handsome prince. I started writing, and the first writing appeared in a school magazine, then in my college magazine, and then to my father's astonishment, at 19 or 20 years old, I started working for a newspaper while I was doing my graduation. So I could imagine things. How did imagination help me? Those days there was no Harry Potter, so imagination came from books of Satyajit Ray to Thakur Ma's Jhuli, a beautiful book where my grandmother used to tell me stories, and I used to wonder, okay, then one day I shall be also like this. Or at times when I'm scolded, perhaps there's a god watching me, or there are gnomes, or there are fairies, or dress up as fairy. So my imagination was everywhere, and it continued till I came back to Bangalore and I started working. I started working as a kind of a trainer in HR, but then I moved into fully soft skills. So my exposure started, and the time of pandemic, I started writing more. I never realized the fact that I could dream, I could imagine, I could create, and that creation could win me prizes. Perhaps in our childhood, we are encouraged to imagine, and that imagination stops when we are mature or we are growing up. Very few parents encourage, thinking that it's not right. But I would say imagination is the playground, and your pen is your sword. So keep writing, keep dreaming. How the next point is how I used my journey of discovery of me. When I joined training industry, there were so many things happening. At times things were good, and time of Corona again, people were depressed. I realized the fact that imagination could be my team to manifest things, to visualize, to create, to dream. And I discovered my passion of writing a gratitude journal and started creating, writing, manifesting. And I also started training people who are going through depression to think better, used NLP as a technique to dream, to manifest, to visualize, and achieve it. Now, I cannot claim to be perfect in my this perfection, because some of your manifestations may be fulfilled and some may not. But that doesn't stop me from dreaming, and that doesn't stop me from achieving, and thus will always aspire me to be different. At times you are stereotyped after a certain age, as Aditi's story also talked about stereotyped. But I always felt I could do things. Even if I'm not tall, I can win a pageant. Even if I am not an art student, I can write. Even if I am mom of kids who are working in their 20s, I can look the way I am, and I can dress the way I am, and I kind of accepted my uniqueness despite others' criticism. So for all, I would tell, keep dreaming, keep inspiring, keep writing. Next point would be dream big. Always dream big. Small dreams everybody has, but as we grow through certain points of time, we feel that we have not loved ourselves enough. So self-love is very important. I love myself, and I keep on dreaming, I keep on achieving, keep on writing. In imagination is my manifestation, and I will end with a poem. So, in the quiet modem of imagination, it colors my world and it paints a world of vision and dreams. Begins a day of manifestation, creating my realms of visualization. I change my thoughts to positivity. I write my thoughts and imagination to chalk my manifestation, to create a vision and board of domain, to give up negativity and to begin with the positivity. I try to reach my goals in the universe or metaverse. Whispers of stories and poems, like a free flowing river, it ebbs and flows. I am the queen of universe, hark the angel of paradise. I can create my visions into reality. I, me, and my link of creativity. Thank you so much. I hope you like my story. Thank you. Bye.
That was so beautiful, really scintillating. I can say, you're creating that vibe around you, and you're looking so beautiful, and the words you're speaking out, it gives a different aura altogether, and such wonderful words. That is what your story and Aditi is also. You're just giving us a blank page and asking us to imagine and put our thoughts and paint the canvas with our own thoughts, with our own ideas, with our own imaginations, so that to see a world which we really want to see. That is so
Yes,
beautiful. That is
yeah.
what is the takeaway
Always,
from the book.
always, use that tool for you can actually empower yourself with that kind of,
Yes,
though it is writing is not considered as such a
true,
great thing at times, but then
true.
I think it's great. So thank you everyone
Thank
and
you
bye
so
bye. God
much.
bless.
Thank you so much, Somaji. Thanks a lot for the beautiful evening. Each story is coming up with a different perspective, with a different inspiration. That's so beautiful. And moving on next, we have with us a beautiful Preeti Warrior. Preeti Warrior, she has completed her master's in electronics engineering and is an assistant professor. She is an award-winning writer and a blogger. Her work can be found in anthologies and literary journals. It's very less speaking about Preeti, because if I have to tell about Preeti, I'll take one full day. So, Preeti, the screen is all yours. Yeah.
Thank you. Am I audible, Rohini?
Yes.
Huh. So my story is quite different. It's a fictional story, and it's about war, rebellion, revolution, and a woman caught in between all this. The title of the story is The War Orphan. So here goes. The rickety bus wound up the hilly terrain, and I clutched my baby close. The bus was crammed with villagers returning home from work, and the bumpy roads rendered my journey laborious. Yet there was a feeling of warmth engulfing me. I was finally going home. Hushing my little one to sleep, I gazed out of the window. Nothing much had changed. The twilight sky, the vast acres of tea plantations, the small shanties lining the paths, children playing in the mud. But the scars of war still showed in the rubbles of the concrete structures, where perhaps there was a house that stood once, a school, or perhaps a hospital even. Nearly a decade had passed, but I had vivid memories of the night when I left home with my mentor, my senior at school, a man whom I worshipped and eventually married, Sundaram. He was a torchbearer of our liberation. He fought for our people. His fiery and motivating discourses lit the spark of revolution in my mind too, and I followed him along the path of freedom. Ours is a small minority in a big country, and our minority have been slaves to the majority since quite some time. We were struggling against the oppressive rulers. Our rebellion earlier started with non-violent movements, but then the movement turned violent, of course. That was because of we could never win the freedom or the kind of liberty that we wanted. My father was a school teacher and a very quiet person and a believer in non-violence. He would speak to people, he would often give speeches, but then one night the police jeep suddenly arrived and took him away. We never saw him again. They did not even return his body to cremate. That kind of struck a lightning inside me. I had to take revenge. I was seething, and that is why I left on the path to freedom, to the forest, to the jungles, with the gorillas, with Sundaram. But then the war started, and the war was bad, and we were heavily outnumbered. The final showdown came, and many of my comrades were captured or shot. I too was, in fact, arrested and put in prison. But at that time, they realized I was carrying my baby. And then, being a political prisoner, and for my good performance, I was left soon. So here I am going back home after all these years. Hey, lady, that's your stop. The conductor suddenly shouted, and I was jolted back from my thoughts as the bus lurched to a sudden stop. I alighted with my baby in one hand and a cloth bag in the other. That was all I possessed. I trashed down the familiar dusty Kacha roads and I stopped at the gate of a small cottage, wooden cottage, which I once called home. There was a fading bulb at the entrance, flickering, and then, as I knocked, a frail old woman opened the door. It was like an entire time when me and my mother embraced each other. Tears flowed down our faces. There was so much to say, so much to share. Akhila, you're back home. Come, come, Kanna, come inside. But when I saw the interiors, it was far worse than what was outside. Kind of understanding my feelings, reading my heart, my mother said, you know, Akhila, it is difficult to get ration these days for the families of ex-guerrillas. I couldn't say anything, but Amma had already picked up my baby and she was trying to lull her to sleep. But somebody peeped from inside. Who was it? Oh, that was my sister Janaki, the little baby whom I had seen long ago. Janaki, I called out, but she ignored me entirely. Amma, I'm going, you know, and please don't wait up for me. Have your dinner and go to sleep. She just went away. Amma, why is she going away so late? What is she doing? Amma did not answer me. But then I heard a bicycle outside. Who could it be? Could it be Arjun? And yes, a tall, lanky lad walked inside, and that was Arjun, my younger brother. Arjun, I called out. Mom said, Arjun, look who's come. It's Akhila. But then Arjun too did not even cast a glance at me. But I stopped him. Arjun, what is wrong with you and Janaki? Why are you behaving like this? Arjun said, you really want to know why I am behaving like this? So let me tell you. You walked out one night with some rebellion, with a rebel for a cause, and every time you bombed an army jeep, or when you ambushed a convoy, I was taken to the police station and I was beaten up like pulp. They wished to know where you were, and I had no idea. I could get no proper job. I could not finish my education because I had the stamp of the brother of a guerrilla. Janaki also could not ever get a good proposal, could not finish her education, and now has to dance in hotels. It's all thanks to you. I was very angry. I was like, Arjun, it's for you people, our people that I went over there. I went to war. I was living in forests, like a nomad. And then you're speaking like this to me? I did it all for you. And then what? Arjun said, what did you get? What happened? Did you win? No. Did we win? No. None of that happened. You call yourself a guerrilla. You call yourself a war hero. But no, that is not the life that we saw. Amma started crying and said, stop both of you, please. Let me please live in some peace. Arjun just went inside a room and shut the door, banged the door. I did not know where I had got wrong, where I had gone wrong. Finally, I told my mother, Amma, I don't want to be a burden on you people. Tomorrow, I'll go in search of Murali, a comrade who is in touch with me. I need to find Sundaram also. We are married. This is our kid. I promise you, I'll be off tomorrow. I won't trouble you anymore. Amma didn't say much. I could understand. She had to care for Arjun and Janki as well. Early in the morning next day at dawn, I walked away with my kid in search of Murli. I knew he was teaching in a school nearby. When I arrived there, I saw Murali teaching in a small thatched school, small children. He saw me and he just flashed a tired smile at me. Akhila, you're back? I said, yes, Murali, I'm back. What is it that you're doing? I'm teaching war orphans here, Akhila, he said. They have no one to take care of. They have nowhere to get education. Nobody takes them in. So I have taken it about on myself to teach them, to educate them. What about you, Akhila? Murali, I need to find Sundaram. Please tell me where he is. He never came to meet me in jail. I could go to him. I could, fight alongside him, live with him. Where is he? Murli looked at me and said, Akhila, I'm very sorry to tell you, but it was Sundaram who finally ratted us out. He belonged to a rich family, and the government promised him a safe passage to a country abroad. And then he did that. He was the one who told the army about us. It was because of whom we were all captured. And then he's now happily living somewhere. I don't know. I did not want to inform you all that in your condition. I knew it could tense you up. I didn't say much. There were tears flowing down, but I wouldn't give up. I just wiped my tears and was about to leave. Go home, Akhila. Go home to your mother. Help her. I scoffed. I said, Murali, they have disowned me. I don't have any home. You know who's the war orphan here? Me, the one who fought the war. I am the war orphan. Anna, a small kid, a little girl. She was nudging Murali. Anna, who is she? And Murali said, Kanna, this will be your new teacher, Akhila teacher. She will take your responsibility from tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful.
Hope I didn't take too much time.
Not at all, Preeti. That was such a beautiful story. It's
Thank
a
you.
powerful story, and as always, you use such beautiful, words, and you create that imagery, and obviously, someone's life. It's a snapshot of their mind, their heart, and their challenges and their triumphs. It's been a very powerful story, Preeti. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for that. Thanks a lot. Beautiful it is.
Thank you.
So moving on next, we have with us Deepthi Menon. Deepthi Menon is the author of 10 solo books in varied genres and the contributor to over 25 anthologies. She is presently the executive director at Hari Sri Vidyanidhi School, Thrissur, Kerala. And she has a passion for writing and teaching. She often says, writing runs in my blood as teaching does. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do both. I can never forget the thrill of seeing my name in print for the first time, a thrill that has only intensified over the years. And that's Deepthi. Yes. Yes, Deepthi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Rohini, for this wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I hope I'm clear. Clear enough? Thank you so much. Basically, I think I'm a thriller writer. So what happens is that every time I write something, people around me kind of shudder because they say, "Oh my God, what is she going to write next?" And this story that I'm going to narrate today is from an anthology of mine, which is an anthology of thriller short stories. And what happens is when you're writing a thriller, you do need to thrill the audience or the reader, which takes a little bit of doing. So it takes a little bit of time. But I thought, since I am a thriller writer, let me put forth a thriller short story. So the name of the story is The Lady in White. And this is a part of my book called Where Shadows Follow. I'm also supposed to be a shadow writer because I've got 4 shadow books, which are all very shadowy. So this is one of those stories. So it's called The Lady in White. He had left her. That was a thought that woke her up that morning. As she lay in bed, her heart wept. She did not want to get out of bed. Maybe if she stayed, she would not have to face the cruel truth. The garden beyond her window looked just the same. The shady tree overladen with green mangoes, and the tiny little patch that had bloomed with flowers of every hue. How was it that nothing had changed despite the heaviness in her heart? The window was open and the curtains rustled in the slight morning breeze. Butterflies flew in zigzag paths as they alighted on the flowers, cavorting with the dragonflies. She had always found the latter lackluster, with their transparent wings that made them appear colorless. Maybe they reminded her of herself, pale, uninteresting. That is why she had changed her name from Mira to Mila. Maybe that sounded a little more exotic. The butterflies were different. She loved their vibrant hues, and her eyes would light up at the sight of them, especially their wings, which looked like triangular, papery scraps in the sunlight. This morning, too, was no different. The sight of the butterflies took part of her sadness away, even as she mourned her loss, the loss of his presence in her life. As she dressed for the day, the mirror smiled back at the wraith of a girl as delicate as a violet blossom. It was her looks that had made Dave fall hopelessly in love with her. He was tall and handsome, and all he wanted was to sit with her at the base of the half-grown mango tree in the garden and clasp her to him as the birds chirped around them in glee. Often he would pluck a blood-red hibiscus bloom from the gnarled plant and tuck it into her lustrous black hair. My very own Spanish senorita, he would chortle, and she would smile, a blush on her cheek. Sometimes Dave would lean against the mango tree as she read excerpts from her favorite classics. At such times, she would overcome her shyness as she played various parts: the tragic Miss Havisham, the temptress Milady, the beautiful Juliet, or the doomed Lady of Shalott. "You should have been born in the Middle Ages, you know," he would often say. "Beautiful enough." She would retreat behind her reserve again, blushing prettily. He loved her to distraction. She loved him too, with all the passion her timorous heart was capable of. And then, one day, he walked out on her without any warning at all. It was as if he had never existed for her at all. Her whole world came crashing down as her heart shattered into smithereens. Sympathy came from all quarters, as people's hearts broke at the sight of a lovely young girl whose large, grief-stricken eyes were pools of despair. Her parents hovered around her, offering solutions. "Child, put him out of your mind. He is not worth your tears." Her father exclaimed, his eyes emitting fire. He would not have hesitated to use a shotgun on the man who had dared to hurt his little princess. "Find you a prince, my baby," the mother crooned. "Someone who'll take care of you like the precious little jewel you are." But she was shrouded in her grief and refused to listen. Why? Had Dave jilted her? Was it for another woman? Had she misjudged him? Or was it his glad eye that had taken him away from her? Had he tired of her? Or worse, had some misfortune befallen him? Her heart nearly stopped at the thought. "There is only one man in my life, and no one can take his place," she cried. "If Dave comes back to me, I will marry him. If not, I will remain a spinster like Miss Havisham." She had a stubborn streak to her, got from a stubborn, mule-headed relative who had also gone along the same path. As the days went by, Miller grew thinner and paler. The world looking on called Dave a scoundrel. Even his parents denounced him, as he had stolen away with not a word to them. They were on his side. His mother wept buckets as she said, "He is my son no more. How could he do this to you?" After which she wept buckets and buckets more. Miller took to sitting in the garden under the mango tree where they had spent many wondrous hours together. She would place a hibiscus bloom on her hair, but even the sight of the beautiful butterflies brought her no cheer. She would open up a little treasure chest she had and browse through her precious mementos, old ribbons, her first frock, beads and trinkets, and hundreds of papery scraps that she had placed carefully between the pages of a thick book. She had nothing of Dave's except a handkerchief which he had offered her when she had hurt an elbow. She held it to her heart, pressed it to her nose, trying to get back his smell, a whiff of which still lingered within its folds. There was one particular white dress he loved to see her in. She took to wearing that every second day, till it turned brown with grime, but she refused to part with it. The years went by. Miller started aging. She was now officially an old maid, and there was a wizened old maidservant with her. Her parents had passed away. Rumor had it that she lived in the white dress after her parents passed away. No one came visiting anymore. She would go out into the garden when it was sunny and sit staring with avid eyes at the butterflies. Her waxen skin would glimmer in the sunlight. Then, one overcast morning, Miller had a visitor. She hobbled to the door with difficulty, opened it, only to find a lady of her own age, all clad in black. "May I come in?" Her tone was cultured, but she was obviously a stranger to those parts. They sat outside in the garden, two ladies, one dressed all in white, the other clad in black, sipping at their cups of tea. The sun shone warmly on their lined faces, and butterflies and bumblebees and dragonflies flew around. The maid bustled around trying to eavesdrop on their conversation. The desultory conversation ceased as a lady in black suddenly dropped a bombshell. "Miller, I'm Dave's wife." Miller was irate. "How dare you mention his name to me?" she spat out. "He jilted me and left me high and dry. He didn't even give me a reason." There was a moment's silence. The lady in black cleared her throat, choosing her words with care, and asked in disbelief, "You really don't know why he left you?" Miller shook her head, the anguish of the lost years on her lined face. The lady continued, "You have always been fascinated by butterflies." "Did Dave tell you that?" "Yes, he did. He was so much in love with you. I was only a poor substitute." "Then why did he jilt me?" she cried in fury. The butterflies were still wheeling around lazily in the warm morning. "It was a day like this, when you were sitting on your favorite wicker chair in the garden," the lady in black continued. "The sunlight fell on your face, making you appear even more beautiful. Dave came up beside you, but you didn't see him. It was a moment of perfection, and he drank in the sight of you and fell even more in love with you. Nothing could have torn him away from you at that moment." Miller stiffened as the other's words sank in. A faint memory of the afternoon flickered in her eye and then disappeared. The lady in black continued, "He stepped forward to clasp you in his arms. At that moment, a butterfly came and sat on Miller's hand, on her palm, her outstretched palm." The other woman continued to talk softly. Suddenly, she stopped. The woman stopped talking. as a strange expression came over Mila's face. She was looking down intently at the butterfly, at the beautiful creature on her palm. Her breath seemed to stop momentarily as her eyes took on a peculiar gleam. The next moment, she smiled in cruel satisfaction as she proceeded to tear the wings of the butterfly apart. Thank you.
Beautiful, amazing, and it was a very unique and a very different ending, Deepthi.
Thank you.
I was just waiting. I was just waiting to listen and to you to continue. But it's really beautiful, and as you said, you are a thriller writer. You are a writer, belonging to this thriller genre. Like it's so amazing. But this story has lots of emotions in that woman, and you picturized them so beautifully. And the characters actually came walking when you were describing them. They just came walking in front of us. It was so beautiful, and
Thank
it shows like it's a reminder that the creativity is endless. Within all of us, the creativity is endless. It is how much you sharpen it and how much you bring it out and you share with others. It's been a wonderful story. Thank you so much, Deepthi. Thanks a lot for being.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rohini. Thank you.
Thank you. Now moving on with our next storyteller of today's evening is Veena Sitepalli. Veena ji, she's passionate about telling cultural and nature stories to young children. She also loves to share her travel experiences and motivate children, enabling them to expand their learning and empathy. And so today she's here to share with us one of her traveling experiences. Yes, Veena ji.
Thank you, everybody. After few powerful stories, well-written stories, I'm not a writer, but I love to share my experiences, as Rohini said. And firstly, thank you, Rohini, for bringing us all together. Thank you so much. I begin with something which is very close to my heart, both for traveling as well as because I talk too much, I gather a lot of experiences. So here I am, and my story is, I would call it, split between two lands. I'm trying a little bit of techno. If it works, it works. Otherwise, of course, I'll have it blur after some time. I'm not going to be sitting, if I sit on this side, I will be in the back seat of the taxi, but I'm going to be sitting on the front side, and then I'll remove the image after some time. Split between two lands. Well, if you hail a taxi, a yellow taxi at New York, chances are that the driver will be South African, Pakistani, Indian, or some other immigrant. If you hail a taxi at Sydney Airport, chances are that you'll engage the taxi driver either from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, or even the Middle East. And you might find them all chatting outside about a game of cricket, because that's the common game between Australia and their own countries. If you hail a taxi at Auckland Airport, chances are again that it will be an immigrant taxi driver, a Filipino, just like I've shown here, or an Indian, or a Pakistani. And he might even greet you in Namaste, Aiye Behan ji. Well, I was taken aback when I first went to Auckland many, many years ago, and I thought, well, everybody spoke English, but I was greeted in Hindi. Well, if you say the taxi driver from Amchi, Mumbai, yellow top, black body, he will also not be from the state of Maharashtra, but he will be probably from North India, a Bihari, a UPI Bhaiya, or from Jharkhand, or from somewhere in that region. Now, what is it, the common denominator between these taxi drivers as immigrants. My many travels tell me the stories behind their resilience, behind their adventures, and behind their moves to their different countries. So here I am now. I sat down the last time I went to Sydney to meet my daughter, and I took a taxi to Sydney airport. I hugged my daughter, wished goodbye. I was a bit emotional, like all mothers will be, and sat down in the taxi. And then the driver asked me after some time, "Madam, is it all okay?" I knew he was not an Australian because his accent gave away. And I said, "Where are you from?" "Lebanon," he said with a gruff voice. I had a friend from Lebanon staying very close to my house, I said, and we used to exchange lots of food. Food. As we discussed food, we discussed falafel, we discussed hummus, pita bread. Well, Indians gave food too on the other side of the wall, and we discussed pakoras, parathas, chai, and things like that. Now, we chatted about what are the difficulties that he faced. Well, this taxi driver had come to Australia, Sydney, about 15 or 20 years ago. He was young at that time, middle-aged, and he wanted something better in life. He didn't want the challenges of his own country, the political turmoil in his own country. Mind me, he was not a refugee, but he was an adventurous, risk-taking spirit. And so he had come to this new country called Australia. He didn't have much money in his pockets, but that made him work even harder. How come he got a taxi driving job, I asked. Well, the taxi driving job comes as a first landing point, and it's quite easy. It's not so easy, but it's easier, let's put it that way. What is it that you need? You just need an international driving license. You need to convert your own country license to an international license. And you need to speak English. You need to pass the English test. Now, sometimes you may not pass it so fluently, but you can manage to get by, and as you're driving every day, you can learn more and more of the language, because you pick up the customer in the back and talk to them, if they are like me. And so this young man came away from his family, but soon he got married. He had to go back to his country and then bring his wife and children here too. So that means that he needed to have a home. So he had to buy a house. He didn't know where. Now, if you go to any of the major cities, you'll always find that people of ethnic backgrounds live in their own little suburbs, live in their own little groups in the suburbs. You'll find the Vietnamese in a pocket, you'll find the Indians, you'll have the Pakistanis, you'll have the Bangladeshis. All of them live in different pockets. Why is that so? Well, you leave your own country, you leave your family behind, you have nothing to hold on to. It's tough, especially the first few months, especially if it's winter and you're not used to winter. Well, after that, once you get a home, if your children need to go to school, then you need to find a home near the school. And this, imagine when the taxi driver's pockets are really tight. He needs to do all this to make a living as well as to settle down in a new country. Not all taxi drivers are well educated, but I experienced once on another travel. I got into the taxi and this man, young man, I would say, was very well dressed with a full sleeve shirt and well dressed. And I asked him, "So where are you from?" "मैं आपके country से हूँ." I got shocked. I said, "Oh, Hindi बात करते हैं? Do you speak Hindi?" He said, "Yes, madam." I said, "So what brings you here?" "I'm doing my PhD and I'm collecting money on the side. I need to have my own expenses." I was like, What? PhD and you're a taxi driver? Yes, madam, there have been some doctors and engineers also who have been taxi drivers when they come to a new country. I bit my lip. I think I was much luckier than them when I travel so often and I didn't have to do this kind of thing. But again, this Lebanese man said, you know what, madam? It is we immigrants. When we come to a new country, we come with all our zest and all our courage and all our determination, and we weave fabrics. We weave fabrics of hope for intermingling, for adjustment, for resilience. Along with that weaving, we also change the identity not only of ourselves, but a little bit of our country. And now I will bring out a little fabric which I owe my thanks to Shilpa for her kindness story. And I'm using the same little blanket today. As I saw her, I pulled this out. So every little patch on a quilt represents a different country. And that's what all different people, all different colors, all different food, all different cultures. That's what makes up a country. And that's how the country becomes so resilient. It becomes different. It becomes engaging. And you find lots of warmth, lots of color in that country. Well, one more small experience before I close. Because I'm from Amchi, Mumbai. Some of you from Hyderabad may think, but Hyderabad taxi drivers, I haven't met any other taxi driver than the Telugu taxi drivers. So I don't know why they don't have. But Bombaya Hindi is a must. Now these taxi drivers come from northern India, from Bihar, from Jharkhand, from Uttar Pradesh, and very fondly in Mumbai, they are called bhaiyas. We all call them bhaiyas. So in one day, one of the taxis that I was in, I asked the bhaiya, I said, "Bhaiya, aap kahan ke hai?" The minute you say aap, he knew that I am not from Mumbai. I said, well, I also lived in Delhi, so that's how we say aap. You give respect. Aapki Hindi hai, Bombaya Hindi nahi hai. But what brought you to Mumbai? What brought you to this city? Kya kare, madam? दाना बीज और घर गांव में, पैसा और रोजगार बम्बई में. That means बीज, your grain and your home is in the heartland or is at home, but the money that you earn and your rosy roti, the money that you earn is in the city or the country that you come to, the country or city of your residence. That is what brings these taxi drivers from North India to Mumbai. Is it that they love to stay there? No, it's far from that. But I think what brings them to such situations is, of course, a lifestyle that they want, which is better than what is at home, employment or a job, a steady income. And what about the lone shark? Because nobody leaves home if you have a loan to pay. And that shark at home drives you out of your city or your country because you need to repay your loan and get out of it. So most of these taxi drivers, I love that picture and I'm going to put it back because I want to be sitting in that taxi now. So I'll have to sit at this side of the taxi so that I'm being driven and collecting much more stories for all of us about all these taxi drivers that have taken me so many places all around the cities, and I owe them all these stories. Thank you very much.
That was so beautiful, very beautifully put. It was like, the moment you showed the crochet, I was about to think about that. You just brought different colors of threads, different experiences in the form of different colored threads. You put them all together, woven in the form of a beautiful crochet. That's how is your story, Veenadi.
I am so hung on changing the background. Now it says none, but it doesn't come out. Anyway, let it be. I'm sitting in the taxi. I don't care.
That was a beautiful story. That was a beautiful experience that you have shared with us today. Very good. So now moving forward to the last but not the least storyteller of today's evening is Shri Karuna. The most beautiful one is the founder of Chandamama Katha. She is a certified NLP master practitioner, happiness and mindfulness coach. Her love for stories extends from kids to adults all across all genres. She also dabbles in writing poems and stories. Many a times she narrates self-return stories, and she loves connecting with people and nature, making meaningful stories. And that is Nashri.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible? I
Yes.
switched from
Yes.
mobile to laptop.
Yes.
The last line, she loves connecting with people. I've just come back from the Vizag Junior Lit Fest and I met many of the rock storytellers and all, and my heart is full. And yeah, so whenever they were showing the film of different ethnicities across the countries and all that, it all also starts with right from being babies, how we connect with people from our family, from immediate family like friends, and that's where my story begins. When I look at Preeti or Aditi and now hearing to Deepthi and Soma, oh my God, what vivid imagery and, such vocabulary and all. My stories are very simple. They say a part of us, our experiences in life, comes into our stories that we pen. And this is one of those attempts. Here I go. And the title of the story is You and I. And you and I make we. That's the title of the story. You and I make we. It's about two. Yeah. Why to give out this one before the taste before actually serving you all? Here I go. Geeta Miss just entered into the classroom. The classroom was all bustling. They were moving from here to there to the back bench. The front benches were going to back benches, and back benches were coming to front benches. As soon as they saw the teacher, they all quietly came back to their place. And slowly, as the teacher said in those days, there was pin drop silence. Not because Geeta Miss was very strict, it was because Geeta Miss was carrying a bundle of papers. They were the answer papers to the last subject of the final exam of 6th grade. Two girls from different benches were eyeing each other. They were waiting who's going to top the subject, which is going to decide the total and who's going to get the first rank. They both were very, very anxious. And as they were anxious, they were also lost in thoughts for a while. Right from when they were toddlers, even before they knew how to speak, they were friends and they were enemies. They were frenemies. Meghna and Nayana. Meghna, daughter of Madhavi, and Nayana, daughter of Nalini. Their mothers were distant cousins and the best of friends. Meghna was almost 1 year younger to Nayana. You all must be wondering that how come they both are in the same class? Because sometimes it so happens that the one who is born in June has to go to the next class, and the one who is born in April can go to the same. So they both ended up being in the same class. Right from when they were born, they both were exactly opposite to each other. Meghna was the fair and chubby kid, and everybody loved her a lot. She was talkative, she was very, very cute, including Nayana's mom. She loved Meghna a lot. Whereas Nayana was a premature baby and she was suffering from asthma too. Meghna had a voracious appetite. Right from the day she was introduced Cerelac, The first spoon was kept and the first taste of Cerelac, and the next moment, before her mother could scoop out another spoon, Meghna came to the spoon like, like that. And whereas Naina was given some food, she would turn her head around and used to refuse. That pulls apart both girls were. Naina, like her name, had beautiful big eyes and wavy hair, whereas Meghna had soft hair and little tiny eyes. People used to mistake her to be a Chinese or a Korean baby. And they grew up. And as Meghna was growing rapidly, and Madhavi stitched for her beautiful frocks and ghagras and all that, and they both went to shopping together. And all this beautiful one, Meghna used to outgrow very soon. And Nalini, she didn't have any siblings or, so Naina also didn't have any cousins and all. And as they were both very close, Nalini couldn't see that they would go waste. And Madhavi would say, Array, she outgrew it. This became tight. Please, Nalini, I think you can give them to Naina. And when Naina was dressed up in Meghna's clothes, Meghna used to say, that is my dress. That is my dress. And Nalini used to say, yeah, that is your dress, but now you won't fit into it. But then she used to say to Madhavi, your daughter looked so cute in that dress. My daughter is a bag of bones. Anything you put on her, it'll be hanging on her like this. Unknowingly creating that feeling in Nayana. Oh God, I'm lesser than Meghna. As both were different. According to the physical research, Meghna used to love to sit and draw, like Madhavi used to sit and sew. She used to write poetry. She was so good in her. Anything creative, Meghna used to get the prizes. And anything that was sports, Nayana used to get it. And like this, they grew up. And it was the 6th grade. And that day, Geeta Miss called out, Meghna, 99 in English. And Naina felt crestfallen. She knew she wouldn't score so much in English. She was good in math and science, but languages were not her forte. And this went on, and they grew up. They went in different directions. Meghna, like her mother, was fond of designing, and she joined NIFT and she became a designer. And this rivalry, right from their toddlerhood, grew up with them, and slowly they drifted apart. The mothers were still best of friends, but they eyed each other always. Like in front of the mothers, they will talk nicely, but later on, that bonding somewhere was missing that they played in childhood with the toys together. And Naina, slowly with her interest in math and physics, went on to do her engineering, and she was very good at programming. And as all the software engineers go abroad, she went to US and settled down there. They both got married. They had their own families. And Meghna started her own boutique. And she had beautiful, designs and combinations and styles and everything. And at pricing, she used to feel if I price too much, when people take it, they'll think that it's overpriced. She was doing okay. And one day, she met Nalini auntie at a wedding. And she inquired, how is Nalini? She's doing good. She's working for McKinsey, but I think they're thinking of shifting back to Hyderabad. Yes, auntie, really? That'll be what? And then after a few months, they shifted back to Hyderabad. Then she came to know that recession hit in the US and Naina lost her job. She went to Naina and she said, oh my God, you must have earned so much in dollars. Why don't you do, whatever happens for best, Naina. Why don't you do something new and creative. And I think we can start a startup. But Naina was in depression. She had to leave her comfortable, big, lavish home, with a pool and 4 bedrooms and a big garden around, and come back to Hyderabad in a small, tiny flat. It was tiny compared to there, although they are living in a 3 bedroom flat in Hyderabad. Naina said, yes, I'm thinking of doing something still with the same thought of the frenemy that was there in the childhood. And then she asked, so Meghu, what are you doing nowadays? Oh, I have a small boutique. I have one page on Instagram. I don't feel like updating all the while. My clientele is okay, but my profits and uh, I don't know. And then Naina said, I'll come to your boutique. I'll see and then pick up something for my daughter. Of course, you come whenever you want, and if you give her measurements. And she said, Nainu, your daughter is not like you. You used to be so lanky, remember? You wore my clothes. But you look at your daughter, she's so cute and charming. Naina smiled, remembering that childhood frenemy stage. And then when Naina came and she looked around and oh, what beautiful color combinations. Oh my God, the styles are too good. You should be somewhere designing for Bollywood and all that. And Meghna shrugged. And then Naina could see that Meghna, something is bothering Meghna. And she said, what is it, Meghna? And she said, I do create, but somehow I'm not able to market much. Then Naina said, look, let me help. I can strategize your business plan. I can strategize your marketing plan. Let me do something. And just then and there, she opened the Excel sheet. So how much do you, spend for raw materials, and how much do you pay these workers, and how much this and how much you pay for the commercial current? Tuck, 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 she put, and this is your 3 month plan. This is your 6 month plan. This is your annual plan. If you pay so much, if you do this, this will be your profits. You need to sell that. And Nina's weeping at her. Oh my God, Naina, you did this in just minutes. What a genius you are. Leave with me. This is all what I have been doing for big companies in McKinsey and all that. And then Meghna said, look, I'm writing a check for you. Please do that, that Google ads and Insta ads and Facebook ad, whatever I am your first client. You open your digital marketing agency, please. Then Naina said, are you sure? Of course. And then they hugged each other and said, where were you all these days? I needed you by my side. And just when I needed you the most, you appeared like an angel for me, Meghna said. No, no, no. I think I needed you. When I lost everything and left everything and came here, you were like that blessing, saying that I can start something new. And the opportunity came from you. And we both hugged each other again. And now Naina is having a roaring digital marketing business for all the best of the boutiques and showrooms across the Twin Cities in Chennai and Bangalore. And no wonder that Meghna's outfits started adorning the Tollywood and Bollywood celebrities. So I and you, they became we, and there ends my story.
That was so beautiful and so emotional, Shri, and your narration. It was like completely everyone here are completely got immersed in the words and where the story is taking us to and all. It's a story which everybody can relate to somewhere or the other. The childhood memories, our classmates, or the teacher, or moms being best friends, and sometimes the rivalries between friends or not friends, any, as you said, friend enemies. So, and the ending was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful bond that they have created, and I really loved it so
Thank
much.
you, Rohini. Thank you
I
so
really
much.
loved it. Super. Thank you so much for that. And now, every story today, it was actually like a doorway It has invited all of us into the world of craft and imagination and experience. And we were all just wandering, and we were just getting inspired by the moments, by the emotions. We were just experiencing, we were just there, be there, like kind of things. And our storytellers have exactly done that. They have taken a particular idea, they've picked up an emotion, a particular feeling, or an instance, or a dream, and transformed into a unique story, a unique presentation. So beautiful. Thank you so much. And with this, Katha Fest also comes to an end. I'm so glad all of you have been here these 2 days, despite your busy schedules. It was so warm and so welcoming. There was so much of love, and it was so much. I could feel that abundance within me. I'm out of words. Thank you so very much, each one of you, for making this these 2 days so very meaningful. There was a lot of purpose and so much to take. Still the process is going on. Still I'm synthesizing, I'm absorbing everything. Probably this continues for a longer period of time. And before ending, would anyone like to share something? The room is open. Yes, Shilpa.
Thank you, first of all, Rohini, for curating such a wonderful festival. We had a bouquet of genres, I would say, mythological to personal narratives to animal stories, and this one. So it was amazing. And yes, we had a wonderful lineup of tellers. I enjoyed all the stories both the days. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Shilpa. Means a lot. Thanks a
Thank you so much, Rohini, for
I typed without my specs on, and it says my heat is
lot.
okay. Go on, Aditi.
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much, Rohini, for giving me this opportunity and giving all of us this wonderful opportunity to be a part of Katha Karwan's
It's actually
celebration.
people have
It
given you
was
opportunity.
amazing. Each story was so different and so absorbing. I mean, it was a great learning
Thank you.
for the last 2 days, I would say.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Aditi. In fact, it is the opportunity that all of you have given me so that I could curate something, and otherwise, like, there is nothing. There's, there's just no nothing in the space. Since that you people have come forward, the moment I asked you, you all welcomed that invitation. You said yes, yes, yes. I know most of you have been so busy. This entire week has been a busy week. And Sri Karuna, the moment I messaged, she said, like, can't you just postpone it to next week? Ramendra Kumar sir said the same. Gauri said the same. Like, when I said, no, no, from December 1st, my daughter has got her examinations and I just can't be here or there. So let it be. And it went on so well with all your support, with all your cooperation, with all your love. Thank you so much for that.
So like my tattoo says, Yad Bhavam Tad Bhavati.
Yes.
Your intention was on the spot, and when your intention of the universe conspires, that's what happened.
Yes.
I literally, I didn't think I had the energy to come and tell the story, but listening to all the stories and me going last, yeah. So it was a big
Rohini,
thought you had, and I know how much energy and hard work you put into the thought being implemented, so meticulously planned, the posters and posting on time and on the social media, entire plan. And you gave a platform for so many of us, so many of the authors here, like Aditi, I know about her embroidery and all that. We are friends on Facebook, but hearing them and, Preeti and yeah, it was wonderful. I actually am guilty. I was feeling guilty. I was feeling FOMO that I couldn't attend the other 3 sessions, but I was not able to. I still tried to log in for Ramya, Soumya, and Mira's session, but I couldn't.
Yes,
Yeah, that's my loss. But it was a wonderful show. Kudos to you,
thank
and keep doing this more year after year, and more power to you, Rohini.
you, Shiva.
Loads of love to you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you so much. So
Very aptly said, Sri Karuna. I totally agree. Preeti here. Thank you, Rohini, so much for giving us this opportunity. and I mean, inviting us. And you did it also well. I mean, as Karuna said, all those posters and the links and everything on time and very well managed. Even the time management is perfect. Well done, Rohini. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. All the posters, the content of the posters, everything was done by my daughter. I just gave her my idea. This
Wow.
is what I want. And she
Stay
was coming
blessed,
from
stay
school.
blessed.
She just came from
Great.
school and she sat with that and she used to show me this is what I'm preparing. And I used to just float them on the all the
Great.
platforms. And she has put in a lot of hard work despite her exams. Every day she has exams now, but still she did it for me.
So sweet.
So much of support that she has given me and she has been pushing me चलो कर सकती हो तुम कर सकती हो thanks for that, thank you so much.
Rohini, you are a miracle worker, absolute miracle worker, and I think you used all of us like an orchestra, so beautifully conducted. I think, hats off to you and hats off to your daughter for having sung so beautifully and done all your posters and everything. I think you deserve a huge round of applause from all of us, I think.
Thank you
True,
so
true.
much. You're
Thank
making
you
me
so much.
emotional now.
Thank
Very
you
true.
so much, really.
Thank you so much.
Now that you've said that, what's going on in my mind is दो गाने चल रहे हैं. एक तो तूने मारी एंट्री यार दिल में बजी घंटी यार. That's true for the moment you see another teller on screen come up with a story, there's something that kind of resonates inside, and the joy is just unbelievable. And the other song is मेरे दिल के तार बजे बार बार. तो ये दोनों गाने मेरे दिमाग में चल रहे थे और आपने वही बोला दीप्ति, it's like an orchestra.
Like an orchestra.
How beautiful. So it's a beautiful kaleidoscope every time, and I think a kaleidoscope of emotions, of feelings that we carry back, and there's so much more to reflect about, and so much from each story to take back and reflect on. Lovely. Thank you so much, Rohini. We absolutely enjoyed this evening.
My pleasure, Meera. I love you so much for that, and thank you so much for the lovely beginning, amazing beginning with your music. So, from tomorrow onwards, what should I do?
Start preparing for your daughter's exams. More than Mridula, you will get the
Now,
marks.
Srikarna won't even allow me to do any program because she says, "Hey, you have got your daughter's exams, so you shouldn't do anything now." Yeah, so great.
Yeah, I think I am the bindas mom. My daughter will be having exams. I'll be having online sessions. I'll be going somewhere offline
My
sessions.
daughter doesn't want me to interfere, but I interfere. I poke my nose in everything and be watching कि क्या कर रही है, what are you doing, what are you doing, and all. Yes.
By the way, Karuna,
Same thing.
I realized, Karuna, that Rohini is lucky she has Mrudula, but all of us need, I forget the name. What was that? Of the character who's so good at the digital, of the two friends, right?
Nayana, yeah.
Naina. We all need a Naina. I need a Naina so bad.
I also need one.
Yes, we all do. We all
Yes,
do.
we all need.
I manage somehow to sit in the taxi, but I'm not Mangalam to keep shifting from one picture to another. I didn't want to overpower Mangalam, you see. Mangalam deserves a
And
place.
myself, I have a Naina in me, but my Naina is always sleeping. Meghna is doing the other thing.
Okay, now I should
You
tell you,
yourself
with
are a
Shilpa still around, so I must tell you,
yourself
thank
are
you.
Nayana Srikarna. So you don't need another Nayana. You yourself are a Nayana to many of us. So
No, but I don't post out on social media. No, my Kukuduku Fest, Chennai Storytelling Fest, my In the Moonlight, so many posts are there. I look at all with Shilpa, Neeta Joshi, and all these people. Thak, immediately everything comes on social media. Mine are lying like that.
So I made a mental
That's why you're doing a better job.
I
Get
made a
off.
mental note to ask Karuna later, can you give me Naina's address or phone number or something? I need it so badly.
Mira, I need it before you. The ones with white hair need it most. So you people please wait, okay? Okay, before we end, thank you, Rohini, for all the kindness that you brought. And thank you all these storyteller friends and audience, of course, for all the kindness that you brought. So that is the story of kindness which Shilpa was telling, that and it's a kindness story. So basically, like each patch is a patch showing any kindness. So I try to use this for doing any colors or any kindness, and today I thought I should use it for weaving the different fabrics of ethnicity, the weave and the weft, just like we have in our saris. So once again, thank you to all of you for sharing your stories, and share them again somewhere again later. Thank you. I need to leave. I cannot talk.
Good night, all of you.
Lovely.
See you soon with many more occasions like this. With all the support, with all the love and all the power that I take and absorb from all of you. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye bye. Bye
Good
bye.
night.
See you.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you,
Good
Meera.
night.
Good night.
Love you,
Thank
Aditi,
you.
Karuna,
Bye. Thank you. Good
Deep,
Thank you so much.
Aditi. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
And Rohini,
Sudha.
now
Bye,
you can have
Shilpa.
a good night
Good night,
sleep.
sleep.
मीठे
सो जाओ
मीठे
रोहिणी
सपनों की गुड नाइट दोस्त.
Oh, so sweet. Even she needs that song.
Right. Physically
Bye.
exhausted, but emotionally so full.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Chalo, bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.